Well, as I've often said, I've been very harsh on the early seasons of Star Trek The Next Generation, which I said were strong in concept, but in presentation pretty weak here and there. But reassessing it and learning some new respect for season one. And of course, the main strengths are the conceptual aspects of the shows and science fiction and at least trying, which is an amazing far cry from today's drivel. So, you got to give them that. And of course, seeing it through the lens of now back, perhaps that does add more to it. Just in the comparison, but on its own, some of these shows are not all that bad, and I kind of like, well, I think I just kind of blurred it all together and say I don't like this. And at the time, young teenage Doug was very loyal to original Star Trek, and who are these guys? And there's things in there that was really soft and PC and stuff like that, which seems to melt away through, again, today's lens of wokeness and whatnot. But, a lot of people bring it up, well, Counselor Troy, and what's she doing there and stuff like that. They got to have a little therapy session every 5 minutes. Stuff like that. But the show grew into its own. So the early days would be a little weak. But this opinion was held by quite a few. And among the cast, apparently, as Denise Crosby decided she wanted out. And I think there was, she butted heads with some other people, too, or something like that. Or maybe I'm getting that wrong. Even with Patrick Stewart. I can't remember. Maybe not. But anyway, but I think ultimately she thought this wasn't going anywhere. And wanted to jump ship, as it were, and probably obviously thought it was a mistake later as she comes back. But the interesting thing about that is that it worked for the benefit of the whole series, and it gave an interesting plot and all this sort of thing later on when she returns to the show as a villain and all that. So anyway, Skin of Evil was, of course, the main thing it's remembered for is Natasha Yar dies, and she's wiped out pretty early, You got a few scenes setting it up. Looks like old Worf is about to bust a move on her. But damn it, you waited too long, Worf. And she's just knocked out. And it's interesting in that, and a lot of times there's these big productions for a main cast member and all this sort of stuff. And the show would be all about them, and then, they die at the end or whatever. But here it's just within the ordinary duties that they do as part of Starfleet, and then she's gone, So it's actually that's a plus, it's usually, like I said, not usually done that way. And then of course they had the memorial at the end, which goes on a bit that she took this time to tape this stuff about them all. It's a little much. But still, it's a pretty good roundabout scene with Data and everything at the end there. So it's pretty good. Plus, there's the thing here about this creature, this oil slick or venom, as they have to take on, and the confrontation there, and about what he represents, and the creatures that he was left behind by. I always wondered if that would be followed up upon as well. I mean, who were this race of Titans, But anyway, so all around, it's a pretty solid episode. And I don't really find much fault with it, and then that's it. That was her exit for the time there, at least that version of her character anyway. And so I don't, like I said, although the funeral scene is a little bit much. But they all have these holograms of themselves saying goodbye. Well, if you're watching this, I'm gone. Yeah, maybe, but I don't know. But anyway. So there you have it. Oh boy, they're all bummed. So the next episode, they say, "Hey, let's go get some shore leave." And this episode, Picard meets up with the one that got away because he was too scared to seal the deal with her. Played by the lady from the Mamas and the Papas. And so an old girlfriend. and always, oh, what might have been. And he was supposed to meet her in Paris, and he didn't show up, and she went off to some other guy who turns out to be this super duper pooper scooper scientist studying time travel and whatnot, and ends up creating a distortion that keeps making time reverse and stuff. So there's an interesting concept in this, and again, all in all, it's not a bad episode. It's pretty solid. There's obviously they're still going with they were developing this relationship between Picard and Beverly that they never delivered on until, but yeah, that was it. So the old girlfriend's there and her husband's in trouble and sick and everything, and Beverly's working on him, and then Picard comes and she's like, oh, Jean-Luc, and Beverly whirls, what's this about? And then she and Troy talk about this. She's like, well, I can't compete to the ghost of his old girlfriend and all that sort of thing. So she's all intimidated by her. And, well, look, the woman was pretty hot. And what are you going to do? Except for the outfit, the baggy thing she was wearing. But I don't know. They thought that was space age, I guess. Anyway, and that's about it. The time travel thing is just sort of slapped on. So, oh, boy, you mess with time machines. Look what happens, And so that sort of thing. And then, of course, hey, Data, fix it. So he does. Now, the thing about Data fixing it is, like, at the last, there's multiple versions of him appear. There's the different timelines and possibilities are colliding and what have you. And one of us has got to figure out which one of us is the real timeline. And I'm like, well, they're all individual timelines. It doesn't really work. And in the one in the middle, it's me. And they all... It didn't really make any difference. It's kind of stupid. But yeah, Data saves the deal. He shuts off the doorway to other dimensions that the Dr. Mannheim was his name, that he opened up. And then says, hey, we got to try again. And they said, okay. Hey, look, we owe it to all our crew members who died because you opened up the doorway to the fourth dimension or whatever. But anyway, the main push for this story is Picard, caught in one of those moments where he was really into this girl, and then he got cold feet and ran, and now is almost like, hey, is there a chance to get back together? No, she's devoted to her husband, so you need to move on. And, oh, you're stuck with the redhead. Oh, poor you. Which, again, he never delivers on until they're really old, Yeah. Oh, well. But anyway, both episodes, they're not that bad. Of course, there's a little flaw here and there, but all in all, pretty solid. So I guess as they were going, they were learning, So... only 2 more to go, and then that'll be it for season 1, with only 6 more after that. Only 6. All right, thanks for watching, and we'll do it again soon.